So firstly, I want to apologise because once again we're doing a name change, and I promise this is the last one. This is the last name change now. So anybody watching the series historically would know that we're on episode 9, what started out as being Riding with Friends. I don't think a lot of people understood the title, so I changed it to Helmet Therapy. I've done about 3 episodes of Helmet Therapy, but due to some comments I've had on other platforms, I've realised that actually Helmet Therapy the title can be used in a derogatory way, even though it's a kind of known word really for, using motorcycles for mental health. So I'm changing the name again from Helmet Therapy, and I would now like to introduce you all to Everyday Reset, and this is episode 9. Why Everyday Reset? Quite simply, the whole premise of this excuse me, the whole premise of this series is to talk about mental health, but not in a way to heal, not in a way for me to say this is what you should be doing, but in a way that can give you some, hopefully, helpful hints and tips that you can use every single day should you find yourself on hard times or struggling a little bit. And hopefully, you'll get to a point where you'll remember something that that bloke said on the bike and go, oh yeah, let me try that, and it might work. So it's little tips that we can use every day to try and reset our mind, hence Everyday Reset. And I'm going to stay with this title now. The other idea I had actually was Daily Reboot or Reboot Yourself. But I've gone with Everyday Reset because, why not? And what are we going to be talking about today? So today we're going to be talking, not targeting content creators, but we are going to be sort of looking towards people that do content creating and almost the anxiety that comes with content creating. And I want to apologise as well. It is a really quite windy day today, so I'm sorry if I've done all I can with my settings, I think, to try and negate the wind, but let's see how we get on. It might be a bit of a windy chat today. So why are we looking at content creating this time round then? The simple answer is I suffer with mental health. This is known to anybody that watches my channels, and that is depression, anxiety and abandonment issues. I decided to start content creating probably 3 years ago actually, but I didn't release any videos until March of 2025. So I had the idea in 2022 when I thought, you know what, I've got an old GoPro, I love riding bikes, I'll have a go. It took me 2 years of preparing before I could actually record anything and stick it online. And the preparation really from my point of view was around the worry, because you see and hear so many negative comments on social media. Certain platforms are worse than others. I'm not going to name and shame. I'll try not to in these videos. So it took me 2 years before I could actually get to a point where I was like, you know what, I've now almost mentally prepared myself for the obvious negative comments that are going to come from me riding my bike and talking about things that, I care about. That's not the full story as to what we're going to talk about today though. So again, I've already gone off onto a tangent. I should have been covering the topics that we're going to talk about and why we're going to be talking about them. So I'm not targeting people with mental health on this one, because I think anybody that is doing content creating, anybody that has an expectation of what life is going to be like as a content creator, and I've only been running now for 16 months, so just over a year, so I'm no expert, you know, I've been going long enough to learn a lot in that time, but I'm by no means an expert. But I have gone through many, many different emotions on this journey, and that's what I want to talk about. So whether you've got any kind of mental health issues, even if you don't have any mental health issues, but you're seriously considering starting content creating, or you've already started and everything I'm about to talk about, you'll think, oh yeah, I've had that, or no, I haven't had that one yet. That's what really this talk is about. There's somebody I follow, and I'll tag him in if I remember, Chris Gore. I started watching him. He's ex-BBC cameraman. He's now got his own business that actually helps people with their content creating. It's a 5-week program. I'll tag him in. And he's got a line that he says at the end of nearly every one of his videos, and I absolutely love it, and I desperately want to steal it, but I don't just want to be that guy that steals stuff. And what he basically says is, just turn up tomorrow. No, just be here tomorrow, sorry, I got it wrong. So it's just be here tomorrow. From his point of view, I think he basically means keep creating, keep posting, keep trying, because it's so easy to just give up. You can get 3 videos, 3 days, 3 weeks, months, 3 years into it, and if you don't see an expected growth, whatever your expectation is, it's easy to think it's not working, I'm giving up and leaving. And you could be on the cusp of like bursting out, or just having that slow growth and getting to a position where you're happy. So he will say, you know, just be here tomorrow. And I love that, because that fits so well into what I'm trying to do. Because as a content creator, the amount of times that I've thought, that's it, I'm done, I can't be arsed, I'm not seeing the growth, it's really annoying me, I don't know what the algorithm's doing. There's nobody anywhere that can say, yes, do this and you will actually succeed, even though there's loads of people online saying, follow my course, do this, the reason you're not winning is because of this. Most of it's just bullshit. Most of it is them posting anything that they think they can talk about online, because then it gets them views. Doesn't mean it works. Most of it is just a load of crap. But the amount of times that I've actually thought, I'm done, I want to get out, and hearing him say, just be here tomorrow, is like, he's right, just keep going. Remember your why, and we'll talk about the whys later, but remember your why. But that phrase, I think, certainly from what I'm doing as a content creator, as somebody with mental health, and as a biker, and the audience that I'm more than likely going to hit, is so powerful. Because from a content creator, keep turning up, keep doing the videos, because you will keep growing. The algorithm will earn you, and you will keep growing. It may be a slower pace than somebody else, but it doesn't matter. As somebody with mental health, we talk about suicide and mental health. You know, people taking their own lives in mental health, and yes, you know, be here tomorrow. You know, hopefully what I'm talking about might help you be here tomorrow. It might change your mind to doing something horrible. And from a biker's point of view, just be here tomorrow really means, you know, be careful when you're out on your bike. Pay attention. You are your first line of defence. Look at what's going on. So I just wanted to talk about that phrase. I know that's a long-winded way of, you know, trying to get it across, but I think, yeah, the first part of any journey into content creating is be in it for the long haul. You can't just throw out 3 videos on any one of the platforms and then expect for them to suddenly be grabbed hold of by millions of people and you go viral. That ain't gonna happen. On the rarest of occasions might that happen, but not always. And that is literally, that's if the algorithm is looking at you, and if it does its test and the people that see it think it's funny or they can relate to it. Not everybody will. So yeah, just be here tomorrow. So I wanted to start with that. So what I'm going to do now is, I've waffled on already for a bit, is I'm going to talk about certainly the things that I've gone through and that I definitely still go through now. And what that might hopefully do is it might make you think, you know, yeah, I've been there, I've done that. Or if you are thinking of starting out doing content creating, you know, it might prepare you for what's about to happen. But again, we're going to finish off by talking about our whys. And I'm going to finish off with your whys, because that is the most important part. That is what's going to solidify everything that I'm talking about. So what have I gone through then? So when I started out, I was like super excited, like mega excited. You know, visions of being a superstar on social media. I mean that lightly. You know, I'm not talking millions of followers or anything. As a motorcycle content creator, our audience is limited anyway. Because there's only so many bikers out there, not everybody does it. So when I first started out, I was very much excited, but there was a severe nervousness, you know, very anxious, because the first couple of videos I put out, and they're all in my channel, you can go and have a look, but the first couple of videos I put out, there was no talking, the video quality was rubbish because it was a GoPro. Hero 4. Sorry, when a kid asks to rev your bike, don't you? Rev bomb. Anyway, yeah, so it's an old GoPro Hero 4. It's not a bad camera, because now I figured out how to set it up properly, I can get some good imagery from it. But it's very old camera, but there was no talking, so I didn't have that to worry about. There was no script to worry about. It was just me riding around. But still nerve-wracking, because I was now aware that I'm now on the internet, you know, I'm now visible, exposed, if you like. So yeah, that was the first part. Was very nervous, but extremely excited as well. You know, I was very excited about the prospect of what I was doing. And then there was loads of ideas around, you know, how am I going to do it? What sort of person do I want to be? What sort of content do I want to put out there? I always knew I wanted to talk about mental health, because it's the one thing I really struggled with. But then I didn't want to come across as a supremely boring kind of, nobody wants to watch grumpy old man riding around on his bike, you know, trying to be all fluffy and weird. So I wanted some other content, and things came and went as you test. You will test with different types of content unless you're completely locked in right from the start. I tested with loads of different types of content, where I just did reactional stuff. I do, you know, some comedy, some interesting facts, nostalgia, because I'm a very nostalgic person. So I started toing and froing with absolutely loads and loads of different types of content. But yes, very much from the start I was nervous, super excited, and then as time went on I opened up various different accounts on different types of platforms. So as I mentioned, I then started trying different types of content. So I'd now got a few different platforms that I was using, testing different concepts of things I wanted to put out there, things that I kind of liked, which then opened up one of the first big emotions, which was sitting there watching what other people were putting out there. And this is one of the big traps that you can easily get sucked into. You see what somebody else is putting out there, and for some reason I always feel like whatever anybody else puts out is better than mine. I look at it and just think, oh my God, you know, they're only doing this, but they've done it in a way that looks good. That is my imposter syndrome talking, and we're going to do a piece about imposter syndrome later on. Not in this chat, but you know, in a week or two. But that's my imposter syndrome talking. I still have that to this day. I can put out a video and see somebody else put out a video that is exactly the same as mine, or mine is exactly the same as theirs. Theirs will always look better. So that's one thing that you can get properly sucked into, is then chasing what they're doing. So you then start seeing somebody do loads of, you know, like template edits on things like CapCut, where You know, it's all flashing lights, whizzes and bangs and all that. So you then get sucked into that. That's not my content. That's not what I want to do. In certain things like long ride outs, or you know, whatever it is they're doing, and you start thinking, oh look, that's got X amount of views or X amount of likes, or because they've got X amount of subscribers or followers, that you start thinking that that's what you need to do. So you start chasing that and start doing things that you may not want to be doing. And when I started, I always knew I wanted to entertain, but I also wanted to help. But the one thing I said right from day one, and I stick to it right now, is I do not want to upload stuff that is not me. I'm not going to follow trends. I'm not going to follow what everybody else is doing. I said that from day one. There's a couple of things I've tried along the way just to see, but I've never followed the trend. You know, I've always just said, no, I just want to upload what I upload. Whereas, you know, these sort of so-called professionals out there will say, find out what's trending and do that. And it's like, okay, you can do that if you want. But again, this comes down to your why. So we get a few months in. The next thing that overwhelmed me, and this was 3 to 6 months in, because whenever you go on Google, you look on YouTube, you look on all these different places, and they would generally tell you that, you know, the algorithm needs to learn your pattern, it needs to learn the type of content you're doing, your hashtags, your tags, your SEO titles and all that sort of stuff. And that can take 3 to 6 months before it actually starts realizing who you are and where it should be sending your content to. So after 3 to 6 months, I expected to start seeing, you know, significant growth. That significant growth, to this day, has never really arrived. I have a very slow, dare I even say steady, but I have a very slow growth pattern. Now, in some cases, I've had some people tell me that for the length of time I've been going versus the amount of videos I've put out, that I'm actually doing really well. But I've had others say that actually, yeah, you're not doing too bad over here, but that's pretty shocking. But all of this is something that you will spend, you may spend, certainly I spent lots of time thinking about, chasing videos on YouTube and trying to figure out the algorithm, trying to work it out, trying to think, well, how does it work? If I know how it works, then, you know, I can beat it. I can get it to do my thing. The algorithm is obviously against me. You hear that a lot. The algorithm doesn't like me. The algorithm doesn't give a shite, to be quite honest with you. It's easy for us to sit there and think it doesn't like us, because it might very well feel that way. You might see somebody out there that's only got 3 videos and 10,000 followers. But, you know, that's just luck. That happens so infrequently, so rarely, that it almost virtually never happens. You can only be responsible for what you're doing, and don't chase the follows, if you know what I mean. In fact, no, that comes down to your whys again. But anyway, once I'd done all my research on the algorithm, the one thing I learned absolutely and categorically after a year of searching and studying the algorithms for all of the platforms I'm on, I came to 2 conclusions. The first conclusion is that depending what platform you're on, it will either look for views or it will look for engagement, i.e., you know, likes, conversations, reshare, that sort of thing. So that's the one thing I learned, is each algorithm has a thing, a matrix that it looks for. The other thing I learned is that is the only thing I will ever probably know about the algorithm, because everything else is just black magic, absolute black magic. So my tip on that one is, don't chase the algorithm, do your thing, and the algorithm eventually And I've not proved this myself yet, but the algorithm will eventually, you know, work with you. It's not going to take you, it's not going to make you a millionaire, but it will work with you. But you need to feed it. If you feed it well, it will treat you okay. That's it. Right, I need to take a quick break because I've just got to pop into work. I need to get my laptop and phone. I will see you guys in a bit. Okay, that's good. And we're back. Dealing with disappointment. This is going to happen a lot. And the reason that this can happen and will happen eventually is, there's loads of reasons, to be honest with you, but most of it will be the fact that you're just not getting the engagement you want, or that you expect, or that people tell you you can get. And that will drive disappointment. So what's the best way to deal with that? I still get disappointed, but the one thing that I have come to terms with is the algorithm itself is sporadic. It really is a mess. It's all over the place. You know, you can't tell what's going to happen with a post, because you can make a video that you think that's brilliant. I love that. It's like, it's really good. It's, you know, it's engaging, it's fun, it's colourful, it's brilliant, and it'll get 20 views and no likes, you know, no nothing, and you'll be like, what the hell happened there? And a prime example, I put on a picture. It was the riding triangle, 1984 versus 2024. And the difference that the riding triangle has changed in those 30 years. Is it 40 years? Anyway, the riding triangle, a singular picture. I let the platform choose the music that sat behind the picture, and it got 320,000 views. 320,000 views for a bloody picture that I already had on my phone, and I just pressed upload, put it out there, and just left it at that, and it went friggin' nuts. It was so frustrating because the video I put out before that I put so much time and effort into, and it got 276 views. It's annoying, but this is the thing. This is what you've got to bear in mind. The world is not against you. If you spend time and effort, and bear in mind as well, actually, I should point out, a lot of what I'm talking about is to do with shorts. My long form videos, on average on YouTube, they can be getting, you know, a few hundred views. Some have gone past 1,000, but not many. They have remained fairly consistent, but still, you know, I mean, that, if 500 people have seen a video, that's good. You know, that's, I can live with that. I'd like more, but whatever. So this is mainly shorts we're talking about, but the reality is the algorithm's not against you. Don't take it personally. You will spend time and effort doing the editing, doing the actual filming of whatever type of content it is you're putting out there, only to put it up thinking, yeah, this is the one, this is awesome, you know, everybody's going to love it because you enjoyed making it. If you enjoyed making it and it made you laugh or smile or feel good, you know, you think that's what everybody's going to be like. You hope that that's the message that's going to get across. And the disappointment when you release it and a week later it's had 10 views, 20 views, or in some cases I've even had videos have 0 views. Now think about that, 0 views. That means not even my family looked at it. So what happened with that? Why didn't they get it? Where did it go? I'm not blaming them, I'm not blaming anyone, but what happened to it? But yeah, that's disappointment. That's the disappointment side. How do you tackle that? It's difficult. That really depends on who you are as a person. But what I can tell you is it's not you. It's not your fault. It's not your content. That content in any other time and space would have been amazing. It would have been really good and you would have been so proud of it. But just that one particular moment, it didn't do anything. But it's not you. And that disappointment will ultimately bring on the next wave of emotion, which is frustration. And the frustration side of things, you know, you've just sat there, you've done all that editing, you've done all that work, your video gets bugger all views, bugger all reactions, no new follows. You seemingly sat there wasting your time, effort and money, because, you know, you've bought microphones, you might have bought camera kit, you might have bought all manner of stuff that, you know, has cost you time, effort, money. You've written a script, you've done the recording, you've, you know, broken your fear of being on camera and talking to people and living through the sound of your own voice, which most of us bloody hate the sound of our own voice. It's horrible. To then just realise that you've had virtually no views, to then, that's it, the disappointment will ultimately end up in frustration, because you'll be sat there going, oh, why have I bloody bothered? You know, what's the bloody point? You know, nobody's frigging liking it anyway. Nobody likes me. Nobody likes my content. Everybody thinks I'm crap. That is not the case. It is absolutely not the case. In this world of content creating, everybody talks about the word niche. It's a dirty word, it really is. I hate the word niche, because people say you've got to find your niche and then you've got to appeal to your niche, create stuff for your niche. And by niche, what they're talking about is a mystical group of people who is believed to be your perfect audience, and you must then go and find that audience and give them what they want. Now, how the hell are you supposed to get that bloody audience if you don't necessarily know who they are? Because for me, I just wanted to put content out there, and this is why I said from day one, I'm only going to put out what I want to put out, not what society or algorithms or anything like that dictate. So if there's a big trend going on, I'm not going to necessarily be a part of that unless I'm doing that anyway. But you will always find, you know, people talking about the niche. Find your niche and appeal to your niche. The issue, of course, is you want to do that. You may have, you know, knitting with puppies might be your thing, and every video you do is knitting with puppies. Your niche would naturally appear to be people that like puppies and cute things, and people that enjoy knitting or staying indoors. That would appear to be your niche. But, you know, I'm a biker that doesn't knit, but I like puppies, so I'm not part of that niche per se. But anyway, I'm kind of rambling on a bit here now, because I don't like the word niche. My philosophy, rightly or wrongly, and some people will probably be sat there now going, and you wonder why you're not growing, but my philosophy is very simple. I will put out there what I want to put out there, stuff like this, because I believe it's worth something. And the people that think a similar way to me will naturally follow it. That's my view. And I will build my audience and my niche based on the stuff I put out there. But there'll be people that are following me for the stuff they've seen and enjoy, not following me for a trend. And certainly not following me for a one-off viral video. Right, I'm actually going to find somewhere to park up now, because this wind's doing my head in. I don't know how well I'm coming across, so I want to stop and have like a proper actual chat. Bear with me. And I've just noticed as well, my camera here's only got 20%, so I'm going to have to kind of wrap this up a bit really. But so from frustration, ultimately you're going to get to anger. And the anger is something that, you know, you can just follow that anger, and it'll just lead you to a dark path where suddenly content creating it's no longer fun. You know what? It's no longer fun. You don't know why you're doing it. You absolutely hate it. You don't see the point, and it can be horrible. It can almost turn into a job. And I don't think content creating should feel like that. I think it should always feel like something you enjoy doing. Otherwise, why did you start doing it in the first place? You know. But then that's just me. So how I deal with stuff like that is, obviously I've been through therapy, which really helps, and not therapy because of content creating. It's a little bit extreme, But now I've been through therapy anyway, just because of who I am and because of the issues I've got. And content creating for me, like now, it's a way to escape. It's a way to actually talk about what it is you're doing. It's a way to express yourself and, you know, try and help others. It also gives you an opportunity. If I have a spin around here, I mean, look at where we are. You know, it's a Sunday afternoon, glorious sunshine, and you know, look where we are. It's absolutely fantastic. It can get you out and about. It can get you doing things. It can give you a purpose, a meaning. But the moment I think that purpose changes, and it changes who you are, or it changes for the negative, take a step back. Okay, it doesn't hurt to pause, have a break, and say, you know what, I'm just going to stop for a bit until I'm right, until I'm okay. Don't let it rule your life. Don't let the algorithm rule your life. I go on to all of my social media platforms probably hourly, as I constantly looking to see how many new followers I've got, to see what's going on in the world, to see have I changed, have my videos picked up. You know, it's horrible. It's horrible, but I've come to terms with it. It's something I do because I feel like I need to do it. You know, I feel like it's something that appeases me. And when you do see that little win, you see a new follow, part of me thinks, is that a bot? Because there are bots everywhere. You see new follows, you see people unfollow you, you get disappointed with an unfollow. Don't. It's probably a bot. It's probably an AI bot that's been just sent out into social media world to look at things. Yeah, so don't chase it. Don't worry about it. And it's easier said than done. But enjoy content creating if it's what you want to do. And whatever it is you're creating on, whatever platform it is you're using, whatever skill you're demonstrating, whatever help you're putting out there, you know, just enjoy it. Don't let it ruin it. Try not to let it ruin you. What else have we got? The whys. I think we need to cover the whys. But before we do that, I just want to show you another reason why I do the content creating. And it's this little woman, girl, my little lovely. See, all the time I'm out doing my content creating, you know, this is the tool. It never used to be a tool, and it's not really a tool now, to be fair. That's probably wrong. It's my passion. Yeah, this is what I do. And there's going to be loads of people out there now that are going to look at this bike and they're going to have an opinion on this bike. They're going to have an opinion on what it is, why I dress the way I do, why does this guy wear knee sliders when he's out riding around on that. Everybody's got an opinion. Everybody's got a thought. It doesn't mean that opinion or thought necessarily needs to be aired, but if people want to air it, it probably says more about them than it does you. So if you are content creating, you are doing your thing, you are doing your passion, like I am. There's my passion. My real passion is my family, obviously. I should get that in there. That's an inanimate object. That's not lost on me. But while my family is still here, I can do that as well. I'm very fortunate. And again, that's not lost on me. But people will express an opinion. That opinion, it may hurt you. It may upset you, because then attacking what perceives to be you, they're attacking your passion. But at the end of the day, it says more about that person. You will get keyboard warriors. You will get people that try to put you down. But always remember, somebody who has a lot of love will always love. Somebody who has a lot of fun will always be funny. And people that always care will support. People who have nothing to offer, and I'm screwing this up completely, people who have nothing to offer will always try to pull you down. Yeah? And you're better than that. You're way better than that, because you're already better than them anyway, because you're out there doing it. So don't let them get you down, okay? They're just keyboard warriors, and they're either jealous, or you've got something they haven't, or they wish they could do it and they just haven't got the guts to go out there and put themselves out there and do it. Anyway, I'm waffling. The whys. Don't ever forget your why, and always make sure the light's in the right place. Remember your whys. Why are you content creating? What's your purpose? My son, Ellis the Brave 36 on YouTube, go and follow him. He's absolutely brilliant. He's autistic, he's got a heart condition, and he openly admits that he YouTubes because he wants to be famous. And that's brilliant. He's so clear about his direction. He's so clear about what he wants to be. And that's brilliant. You can't fault him for that. Me, I want to entertain people because I had a previous life of being left out, of being left in the dark. And I know what that feels like to be lonely. I know what it feels like to be sad. I know what it feels like to not have anybody around. And I want everybody to know that even if I'm the only person that you hear from today, at least I know you've heard from somebody. Yeah. So that's why I kind of do it. My stuff is there to entertain, to inform, and to support. That's all I'm here for. That's my why. The bonus to that would be lots of followers, to monetize, because monetizing means I'll be able to do more, all those sort of cliches. And that's the downside. You can only do so much from the start before you actually start needing to get support so you can make things better. And by making things better, you get a better reach, you get more audience, you get to talk to more people, you get to help more people. That's my frustration, is I wish more people would hear this. So remember your why. Why are you doing it? And stick to that why. The moment you stray from that why, you'll become confused, you'll become frustrated. And then, as I've just mentioned, things, they just start to fall apart and it's horrible. So figure out why you want to content create. If it is to become rich and famous, to be the next Mr. Beast or to be the next Ellis the Brave, that is absolutely fantastic. Follow that why. Do what you need to do to become rich, famous, and remember me when you are, because, you know, I could do with a couple of quid. If it's because you want to help people, great. Get out there, put your message out there. Eventually people will hopefully follow you. And again, I can't confirm that that will happen, but I've grown. I've not grown massively, but I've grown. My audience has grown. So hopefully I am actually now touching the people that I need to touch. This thing is probably about to die in a minute, and I do need to save a bit to get home because, you know, as we all know, if you're a motorcycle content creator, your cameras that you use, like that 360 over there and this, they also double as dash cam, so I want to keep some power for that. But again, if you've got this far in the video, I hope it helps. If it doesn't, thanks for listening anyway. Shove a comment down in there, it helps my algorithm, it'll help me grow so I can help more people. Subscribe, you know, all that good stuff. And I am on other social media platforms, so by all means go over and check them out. But yes, thank you for watching this episode, and to quote Chris Gore, just be here tomorrow.